In this video, we will talk about even and odd identities in trigonometry. So there are four odd identities. The sine of negative x is equal to negative sine of x. The cosecant of negative x is equal to negative cosecant of x. And the tangent of negative x is equal to negative tangent of x. And the cotangent of negative x is equal to negative cotangent of x. And then we have these two even identities, which are the cosine of negative x is equal to positive cosine of x, and the secant of negative x is equal to positive secant of x. So let's work through a few examples and see how we can use these even and odd identities. Let's say we want to find the sine of negative 60 degrees. Well, up here we can see that the sine of an angle is one of our odd identities. So the sine of negative 60 degrees will be equal to the negative sine of positive 60 degrees. So if we think about our unit circle, we know that 60 degrees, if we draw it over here, the point on the unit circle that corresponds to 60 degrees is 1/2, square root of 3 over 2. And we know that the x-coordinate corresponds to cosine, while the y-coordinate corresponds to sine. So we know that the sine of 60 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. So this whole thing just becomes negative square root 3 over 2. So our final answer will just be negative square root of 3 over 2. That's what sine of negative 60 degrees is equal to. All right, let's try another one. Let's say we want to find the cosine of negative pi over 6. Well, we can see that cosine is one of our even functions. So the cosine of a negative angle will be equal to the cosine of the positive angle. So we'll say the cosine of negative pi over 6 will be equal to cosine of pi over 6. So once again, if we think about our unit circle and we draw the angle pi over 6, we know that the point that corresponds to pi over 6 on the unit circle is square root of 3, 2, 1/2. And the x-coordinate corresponds to the cosine, while the y-coordinate corresponds to sine. So the cosine of pi over 6 is just the square root of 3 over 2. So that's our answer. The cosine of negative pi over 6 is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. All right, let's try one more. Let's say we want to find the tangent of negative 135 degrees. Well, we can see that tangent is one of our odd functions. So the tangent of a negative angle will be equal to the negative tangent of that angle. So this will be equal to the negative tangent of 135. So let's figure out what is the tangent of 135, and then we'll just take the negative value of that. So if we think about our unit circle again, if this is 0 degrees, right here is 90 degrees, 180 degrees, the angle 135, if we start from 0, would land somewhere over here. So this is 135. So to find, let's write that 135. To find the tangent, it helps to first find the reference angle. So that's the difference between wherever this angle lands and the x-axis. So the difference between 180 and 135, that's 45 degrees. So that's our reference angle. So if we think about 45 degrees in the first quadrant, the x, y coordinates that correspond to that are square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. Where we said the x coordinate corresponds to cosine and the y coordinate corresponds to sine. Well, we know that tangent, let's write it over here, tangent is just equal to sine over cosine. So what we get is the tangent of 45 degrees is square root of 2 divided by 2 divided by square root of 2 divided by 2. So since the numerator and the denominator are the exact same number, that means this entire fraction becomes 1. So the tangent of 45 degrees is 1. But remember, we're trying to find the tangent of 135 degrees. So if we think of our acronym, all students take calculus, A, S, T, C, these letters tell us which trig functions are positive in which quadrant. So in this quadrant right here, quadrant 2, only sine is positive. So tangent will actually be negative. So the tangent of 135 degrees will be -1. But remember, we have to take the negative of this value, so the negative of -1. So that actually turns out to be a +1. So that's our final answer. The tangent of -135 degrees is just 1.